has been a hot minute since I have posted on YouTube. I thought that for the new year, I really want to get back into posting videos because I've really missed doing long form content as well. Here's hoping it's not just like New Year's resolution talking. I was thinking of possibly doing a 24-hour reading challenge. Basically, I'm going to read as many books as possible in 24 hours. There are two variations to this challenge. Usually people just literally read for 24 hours non-stop, no sleep, but I cannot do that. If it's past 12 a.m., I will knock out instantly. I will be doing the timer challenge. I'm going to set a timer for 24 hours. I'm going to stop every time I stop reading. When I read again, I'm going to resume the timer and we'll see how many books we can finish in that span. By the time I'm filming this, it's Christmas Eve at the moment. It's the 24th of December. I've only read like 4 books this month so far, and I have a lot more that I wish I was reading because usually I read more than that, and it's just been like a busy month. But now that I'm finally on Christmas break, I thought what a better time to do a 24-hour reading challenge than now. And I am a mood reader, so I don't really know exactly what I'm going to be picking out, but I thought it'd be fun for us to look through my bookshelf together. Okay, so we're at the bookshelf right now. Do you want to see my bookshelf? One sec, I'll show you my bookshelf. We'll pick out what I'm going to possibly read during this challenge. So right now, I finished reading An Ember in the Ashes yesterday, and I want to finish reading this series. I have the second book that's just on my desk. Okay, this is the second book, A Torch Against the Night. So I'm going to read this next, and I potentially might just finish the whole series as well as the other 2 books. To be honest, I wasn't really feeling it with the first book, so I'm not really sure if I'm going to finish the series, but I might as well since I am doing the challenge. I also want to give myself some palette cleansers in case I don't want to continue reading that series. I want to try reading The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow. I've heard really good things about this book as well. It's my first Alex E. Harrow book, so I have really high expectations for this. Everyone's been saying it's so good. I also have 2 rows of Danmei, and I'm thinking I might try and read one as well. I don't know if I'm in the mood for like a bit more lighthearted Danmei. There's The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish. I've heard this has fish and preg in it, and low-key I'm kind of curious to read this. I've also been told to read Thousand Autumns by my good friend Gabby. Ignore my bookshelves literally collapsing in the background. I am torn between the 2 because this, I have the rest of the series, so I can binge it if I really like it, but this I've only got book 1, so if I like it, I need to get the next books. I might get Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish because I've had this book for a long while and I really want to see what it's about. It sounds kind of silly, and you know what? I'm kind of in for it. I think I'm going to change my mind. I might not read The Everlasting. I might put this back. And instead, I have this book that I've been wanting to read for a long time. It's called The Ministry of Time. This one here. Let me get it out. So this is the other book, The Ministry of Time by Kaliane Bradley. I have had this book on my TBR since last year. I've been really wanting to read it, so I might as well just get it down while I'm doing the reading challenge. Okay, we're gonna start the readathon very soon right now, but I just wanted to yap a bit about why I wasn't really enjoying Ember in the Ashes. When I first started reading it, it took me like around a week-ish to finish reading this book, and usually when I really enjoy a book, I fly through it within like 2-3 days. Ember in the Ashes by Sabaa Tahir, the writing itself is really great, and the premise itself was really well done. We basically follow Laya, who's had her family taken away by the empire that she's living under, and she is trying to find this group called the Resistance in order to free her brother, who is the only living family member left, and he is trapped in a prison, and she has to infiltrate the empire and act as a spy in order to free him. The whole thing about this book that really pissed me off a little bit was the fact that there were not 1 but 2 love triangles, and it was like, oh my god, I really hate a love triangle. I don't like this trope at all. Most of the times when I read love triangles, it's like both of them are bad, or I feel bad for the other guy who's so obviously a better fit than the male character that was chosen for our FMC in the first place, you know? So when I was reading this, there's another character called Elias in this book, and he is basically the son of like the commander of this academy that works for the empire. He has this thing where he's like wishy-washy, doesn't know if he wants his childhood best friend or Laya, the orphan slave girl. And Laya herself is also wishy-washy because she doesn't know if she wants Elias or the rebel spy that works with her in the Resistance called Keenan. I have friends that told me that this gets better, but obviously while reading it, I would be like so gripped by the plot, and then they'd mention this love triangle and I'm like, make it stop. I just need 1 person in each love triangle to just exit stage left so I could progress with the story and the plot. I'm just gonna start the timer now, and we're gonna start reading Torch Against the Night, which is the second book in the quartet. 22 hours into the reading challenge. I've read for like 2 hours now. I'm DNFing the Ember and the Ashes Quartet. So that means 3 whole books are now being taken off my TBR. I can't do it anymore. Let it be known now. I despise a love triangle. They're always just done for no reason. In my opinion, they serve no purpose. And I hate even more when the character is just wishy-washy between 2 people. Like, indecision frustrates me. I'm gonna read the other books that I planned out to read, but that means we're gonna probably have to find 3 more books to replace that pile. Back of the bookshelf, I picked 2 more books, okay? One of them is called The Sacred Space in Between by Kalie Reid. I know this creator from TikTok. I've seen them talk about their work in progress before it got published, and now it's finally published. I bought it a few days ago, so I'm gonna read this instead. And there's also a book that I bought very early on this year or last year, and I never read it, and it's been on my shelf for a long time. It's called The Dagger and the Flame by Catherine Doyle, so we're gonna read those 2 books instead of The Ember and the Ashes Quartet. It's 12:35 a.m. and we have 18 hours and 36 minutes left of the reading challenge, and I finished reading my first book. I ended up picking up The Ministry of Time by Kaliane right after, and I just finished it. This was such a ride. I was not expecting this to go the direction that it did. I don't think I read the blurb very fully before I started the book. I just knew it had time travel and 2 people who loved each other even though they were from different timelines. But I feel like if you've read the book The Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden, you would really enjoy The Ministry of Time by Kaliane because this book and the writing style reminds me so much of it. It's the kind of writing style where, like, while reading it, it's a bit confusing. It does read a bit like literary fiction as well, but the romance in here is also absolutely just spectacular. Like, it was very tender. We follow this FMC. I don't know if we ever learned what her name was. It doesn't say much because the story starts off as like an account, and it starts with first person. She addresses the reader. It's like a memoir kind of thing. FMC, who has been offered a job at the Ministry of Time, she's half Cambodian. Her job is that she's meant to act as a bridge for all these people that are being dragged out from different timelines, and they're conducting an experiment to see the impacts of time travel. The people that they take from these different timelines are people that were destined to die in those timelines and wouldn't have any impact on the future. So one of the people that they yoinked from the timelines was this man named Graham? Yeah, his name's Graham Gore. Commander Graham Gore, he was part of the Navy, and he was on this ship that eventually gets trapped in the Arctic, and his entire expedition crew will die of starvation while they're on the expedition. Was taken out of history and brought into modern day 21st century UK. He has to assimilate to basically the modern world and get used to a lot of things that are very different from his previous life. The agents from the Ministry of Time, they get assigned to these people from the past timelines. They're called bridges, and their job is to answer any questions these people from the timelines might have, help them adapt to their current living situation a bit better, and also just to make sure that, like, monitor them in order to see if them being in the 21st century has any impact. They described it as how your body would attack foreign cells because it's an immune response. While we're reading about all this, the FMC and Graham, they fall in love, obviously, and it is covering their love story as well. But they also find out that the Ministry of Time is a lot more than what meets the eye. They try to find out what's really going on. There's a lot of text talking about the protagonist. Her mum was a Cambodian refugee. Talk about, like, just feeling this otherness, and in a way she relates to how all these people from the different timelines would feel very foreign and lonely in the current world, and she described that loneliness to be something similar to how she feels as someone who is just not fully white, not fully Cambodian, but she's that odd in between that doesn't belong anywhere. I'll be honest, there were some times where I was reading it and I was like confused because I'm like, what's going on? Overall, I feel like it's got that kind of feveristic writing style that reminds me a lot of Warm Hands of Ghosts by Catherine Arden. I think I would give this a 4 stars. Did a really good job of gripping me. I was very interested, and anytime I thought that my interest might have waned, it just found a way to like give me plot twist after plot twist that kept me reeling. Like, I was actually shocked. I was so shocked. We still have like 18 hours to go. This took a bit longer because of me having to DNF the first book. I'm gonna call it a day for today because it is nearing 1 a.m. and I'm kind of tired. And this story, I'd like to have it marinate in my brain a bit. We'll find out in the morning what I'm in the mood for. But for now, I'm gonna go to bed and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Around 6 p.m. now, and this morning I started reading the second book for the readathon, The Sacred Space Between, and I've spent the past 2 hours reading it. I'm already around halfway. It is a very atmospheric kind of writing. It's set in a world where there is this religion that's obviously maintained by this group of people called the Abbey. Amongst the people in the Abbey, there's like 3 categories of people. The elders as a whole are basically like the powers that control the Abbey itself and what drives them. Then we have the saints, who are part of the Abbey, and these are the people that the normal folk pray to, and they hear prayers and they answer prayers. They have magical abilities which are not made known to the public. And we also have just like the grunt people in the Abbey itself. We have the iconographers themselves who paint portraits of the saint into these pictures, and they're hung up in the Abbey for everyone to pray to. Our main character, Maeve, the FMC in this book, she is an iconographer. Her main job is to paint these portraits of all these saints, right? The person who is the main iconographer, she's about to retire, and Maeve really wants to get that position. So on her last iconography job, she was tasked to paint this saint. His name is Felix. And while painting it, something goes wrong. Like, she blacks out at some point, and she finds out that all of a sudden the oil painting that she was doing is like completed, even though before she blacked out it was nowhere near completed, and that there's gold dust everywhere. So when she comes to one of the elders of the Abbey, his name is Ezra, he finds out about what happened during this painting session, and he has a talk with Maeve right after, and he tasks Maeve with basically finding this exiled saint. They haven't had contact with him in a while, and he wants Maeve to visit this saint and paint an updated portrait of him. In exchange, she will become the lead iconographer when she comes back, and while you're there, we want you to spy on him, basically. So she goes out to find this saint, and his name's Jude. He's not very friendly, he's very skittish. Maeve arrives at the cottage, and Jude is absolutely determined to kick her out, and he's absolutely determined to not let her have an updated portrait of himself. He wants her to go back straight away, and he plans to make her life miserable while she's there because he suspects everything. He suspects she's a spy, he suspects nothing good will come out of her painting his portrait, and essentially he is right. He's very standoffish to her in the first few chapters, and then it progresses. I kind of really like the relationship between Jude and Maeve in the beginning because it's very much like very hostile, and I prefer this much more to like a very insta-lovey thing that's going on. There's a romance happening between these two. It's very sweet, I think. Like, I like the language that's being used in this book, what I would describe yearning to be in language format. So I'm gonna keep reading this, and I will update you guys when we're done. friends on Instagram can testify that when I get really excited about a book, when I get really excited about the dialogue that's happening in the book, the yearning, the feelings that are being laid out on these pages, the first thing I do is I will take a picture and I will share to my Instagram story. And y'all see the tabs? They've begun. I've already taken 4 pictures in the span of the past 5 minutes. There is nothing that will get me more than when a man absolutely worships the FMC. Hands down, the best thing. And to make it even better, he's a saint. He should be used to getting worshipped, and she's usually a worshipper. He has already said that he will grovel and apologize for her. He said, "Let me grovel, please." Okay. And he also just dropped her hand in an effort to not get scrutinized, and he was like trying to play nonchalant. And then the next dialogue is like he could be anything but unmoored around her. And what am I supposed to do? Be normal about that? I will in fact go insane. I am going insane. Good morning. Hello. I have finished reading The Sacred Space Between last night. I really liked it. There was at some point the yearning really hit peak and I could not stop tabbing it. I also freaked out about it on my TikTok, so this was a really good experience reading it. The slow burn was slow burning. Everything that I wanted was really working with this book. If you really liked A Study in Drowning, or you like Study in Drowning but you wished it could be a bit better, then I would recommend this book because it gives me the same atmosphere as reading A Study in Drowning, but I didn't like that book as much. I really enjoyed this though. Yeah, I would rate it like 4.25 stars. That was a solid good read. Now I've got like 13 hours left, so I've decided that we're gonna stop with the romanticities and we're gonna go and read some Fish and Preg. Yeah, the disabled tyrant's beloved pet fish. It's giving isekai, which is one of my favorite things to read about. I really like isekai manhwa. If you don't know what isekai is, it just basically means when a character gets transported into a completely different world from their own, and in most cases in manhwa, Korean comic, it's usually the world of a novel they read about or a story they've written themselves, and they end up becoming a character in the book. Is exactly what's happening to this guy. So apparently the pet fish is a person who read about the story and he got transported into it. I'm hoping to finish this and hoping this will be the last book in our readathon. So yeah, let's just get started reading. I have 10 hours left in the countdown now. Kind of crazy. And we are still reading The Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish. And I am having an absolute blast reading this. This is so funny. But I think for today, I'm probably just gonna let the countdown run without me stopping it at any point because this has to end at some point, right? I feel like it will continue on for another week or so if I keep stopping and playing it whenever I read only. So it's gonna be a real time crunch today. Yeah, I just want to update you on this book. In this book, we follow Li Yu, who is a guy that fell asleep while he was reading this novel, and when he wakes up, he ends up being transported into the same novel that he was reading, except he is now a fish instead of a human. And he has to complete a series of tasks assigned to him by this thing called the system. So the novel is ruled by this system that assigns Liu tasks, and as he completes them, he gains a reward. And his main goal is to help change the personality of the cruel tyrant in this book, and that's basically the love interest in the book. He basically ends up taking Liu in as his pet fish. They form a kind of kinship because fish can't talk, right? And neither can the tyrant because he's mute. He was born mute from birth. Really funny, surprisingly. I've only read danmei that have been really tragic and ripping my heart out and making me cry, which is always a pleasant experience because nothing I love more than a good cry over a book. It was really refreshing to read something that was just very funny, very sweet. I absolutely flew through it. I'm like so far into the story right now. This book falls under the category of a danmei, and I realized I never really clarified what a danmei is, just in case someone doesn't really know what it is. I myself only recently found out what the genre really was, like late last year, and I only started actively reading it this year. So danmei basically refers to just Chinese literature, and it's been translated to English. These originally took the form of web novels written by Chinese writers on the internet, and then they get taken in by publishers and published. And danmei specifically focuses on romantic relationship between two male characters, whereas if you're looking for a more sapphic approach, there's another genre called baihe as well. I haven't read any baihe books, but it's also pretty rare for them to be translated, although that's not the case this year, but we can dive into that a bit more in a different video because I want to talk a bit about this topic as well. So a lot of the danmei I've read recently is just sad. Like I read Remnants of Filth earlier this year, and that was just like absolutely gut-wrenching, but it was also one of my best reads of this year. I still think about it religiously, and I managed to convince everyone that crossed my path to read it, and they all hate me because I'm making them cry. I feel like it's such a blessing to be able to read a book and feel such intense emotions from like just words on a paper that makes you cry and makes you express these emotions. I don't know, I really like that experience. This year I've cried over a lot of books, which is an anomaly for me. I don't know if I told you this. 7 Seas as a publisher, I think they're the only one that does this. No, they're not the only one that does this. There's other publishers too, but 7 Seas is basically a giant publisher. They have illustrations of certain scenes in the book. Let me find some just to show you. You would have text here, and then there's like illustrations on the side as well, and this is pretty standard. There's like a couple more illustrations throughout the book as well. They're just scattered around, and it's a really nice reading experience, especially if you go from reading just like regular novels and then you go into danmei not expecting there to be images. It's like a really nice surprise, and it's very refreshing. I don't think this will be our last book, but hopefully today will be the last day of the challenge because I really want to get started on editing this video and uploading it. I feel like I've been filming this forever, but yeah, I'll see you guys very soon. Come back to report that I've officially finished Disabled Tyrant's Beloved Pet Fish. I'm gonna check in with you on the timer. 6 hours 55 minutes left, so it took me 4 hours to read the rest of whatever was remaining in the story. I really like this. It's enjoyable. It ended on a cliffhanger, but it wasn't a intolerable cliffhanger. It was the kind of cliffhanger where like if I chose not to read the second book, I would still be kind of okay, but because I'm pretty invested in these two and I want to see the romancing, I will be continuing reading this series. Would I recommend this? Yeah, it was really fun. It was enjoyable. I liked it. The only thing is I have 6 hours and 55 minutes left of the 24-hour readathon. I don't think I can read for another 6 hours 55 minutes, not because I don't want to. I feel like I could get maybe 3/4 away of a book. I am leaving on a trip tomorrow, and it's going to be a 3-day trip. I unfortunately don't have any time on that trip to actually be reading for 6 hours, so I will have to stop the readathon here. I actually really hoped that I would be able to do the full 24 hours, to be honest, but I feel like this ended up taking a lot longer than I anticipated, because usually when you say 24 hours it's just one day, but because I was doing stop and start every time I was actually reading, I ended up doom scrolling quite a bit. Next time I do this, I will be probably trying to stick to a no timer readathon, because I feel like that's probably easier and less time consuming, and it's more honest as well. I feel really bad that I wasn't able to do the last 6 hours and 55 minutes, but next time I do a 24-hour readathon, which will probably be soon, when I have a free weekend coming up. I definitely really like doing these readathons. I got quite a bit of reading done that filled up my wrap-up for December quite a bit, so I'm very happy. I got to read the books that I've been eyeing for a while. It was really nice to just immerse myself in reading, and I hope you guys also had an enjoyable time watching this vlog as well, watching this readathon. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I hope to see you guys next time. Bye!